All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Friday for Females, OSA Friday for Females. I'm here with Olia. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, let's get started here. You came from Russia, and you told us, and what helped in transitioning to the U.S.?
Well, kind of I guess long story, but I'll keep it short for the sake of this conversation. I came to the U.S. at the age of 17 for college, and one of the things that I'd never been outside of the former Soviet Union. It was already kind of split up by then, but I would help me really was it was very hard. I came by myself without my family, and I didn't know anybody on campus. Having a good roommate helped me a lot, and also having an international campus. There were kids from all over the world, all over the U.S., and it was a small Christian university in Nashville, Tennessee. It was also helped, I think, that it was not a huge school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was something that took me by surprise. I thankfully spoke English. I went to college. I got into college and came here on a scholarship. So, but yeah, I mean, eventually making those connections and making friendships and sort of I think learning how to be a resource for people back then already helped me. I think I learned how to be a connector probably around that time.
That's pretty cool. Well, tell us, how did that translate to you becoming a business entrepreneur?
Well, it took me a while. My initial dream when I was in college, I was an education major for my undergrad. I actually thought about becoming like owning my own school, like founding my own school. And unfortunately, after I graduated, I was like, well, I need to have a lot of connections. I need to have money. I need to have all these, like I need to know all these people, and I just couldn't really um, do that. So what I did was I temporarily went into I went into government contracting, and I came up to DC pretty much almost right after I graduated from school from my undergrad. And what really, I mean, I've always been a somebody who listened to podcasts, and as soon as like the first iPod, came out, I started listening to all podcasts, like finance and business related, and just kind of getting my own. Even though I didn't have an MBA, I eventually got a master's in organization development and knowledge management, which was sort of like a hybrid between a psychology degree and an MBA, which I kind of wanted to get both. So I kind of got the best, the best of both, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But initially I started my first startup when my daughter was, she was a baby, and I got an idea from helping my mom with her health issues, which was cholesterol. She had a couple of kind of mini strokes, and she was told to to start taking statin drugs, and I didn't, she didn't want to take them, and I talked to a lot of people in my work environment who were older, and a lot of them were having side effects, and so we found something that was an alternative. So I based my first startup on that idea, and then eventually, I wanted to start something else that was, that was more of a sure thing, and that's what led me to starting my business with Rodan and Fields eventually. And I had to do it while working full time. So franchising was another option I was looking at, like traditional franchising, and it was just as a single mom, I became a single mom when my daughter was 4. It was something I could or really wanted to risk, to drop everything I was doing and just starting a franchise and putting everything on the line. I couldn't risk everything. So I had to do something that I could do alongside my full-time job, my startup, and being a mom to a really busy, little girl. So who's like right now she's 12 now, and she's busy 7 days a week. She's in ballet class right now online.
Wow. That's a busy girl there.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
all your pictures of her, but she seems to be really ecstatic about that class. So,
Thank you. Yeah, she loves it. I mean, my goal has always been to really give her everything I can to help her become the person she really is meant to be and wants to be. Growing up, I actually wanted to be a professional dancer, like, kind of a backup dancer for like, Janet Jackson or somebody like that. And I couldn't even tell my mom that because it just wasn't something that, was acceptable. She's like,
mhm.
we were talking about becoming a lawyer, then I was studying to be a teacher. And, I wanted my daughter to have, everything, all the resources and my time and, be able to really create a life that helped her utilize her talents and her passion. So I'm working on that.
No, because otherwise they turn away or they get frustrated and then do things that you may not want them to do. So it's important to take into account the interest of our kids. So that's important. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're into skincare, however. So how did you get into that, and why is it important to you?
Well, so, if you ask me, ever, like if I've ever wanted to own a skincare business, it wouldn't be the first thing that would pop into my head. And honestly, I'm not passionate about skincare per se. What I am passionate about is helping people in solving problems. And when I came across specifically my company, Rodan and Fields, I saw, first of all, I became a client and I saw almost immediate results. And I was a faithful client for a couple of years before I really thought about that as a business. And what made me, look at it as a business was the fact that I had a friend who was also a mom, who is now also a single mom with two girls. And she was building her business around her two girls. One was a baby at the time, and one was almost my daughter's age. And she was able to do this part-time around everything else, that she was doing. And I could see that I could fit this into the nooks and crannies of my crazy schedule, and I could do it on my phone. And the main thing is I could partner with these brilliant doctors who are two women, Stanford trained dermatologists, whose passion it is to not only give people the best skin of their life, through clinically proven, guaranteed products, but it's also to help create entrepreneurs. And I love nothing less than that mission is just, it really speaks to me. And I love helping other people just like me, creating a life around their priorities versus another, their boss or somebody else. I really love helping people create a life around what they really want, and the people that they really want to spend their life with. So that's what I'm passionate about.
That's awesome. And I like the fact that you partner with two doctors as well. It's like you're all working together for one mutual goal, which is helping women with their skincare and making them feel good about themselves, which is great. So
Yeah.
now there are many skincare products. Are there some that are specifically better, or are there some that you think are better, and specifically yours? Why do you think yours are better than most?
Well, as far as the market share, I can say that we are actually number one. We've been number one premium skincare line on the market in North America, the US and Canada since 2016. So it's not something that we say. Euromonitor, is a body that it's they analyze market share, and that's what data is. So it's not something, I don't say we're better. I just it's the fact, right?
Yeah.
Number one, and who better to partner with than number one? Of course, when I started, we weren't number one, but what got me specifically, what got my attention, I was never really interested in direct sales ever. But what happened was with this company was I heard two things. These are the founders are proactive doctors. I knew Proactive. I'm sure you've heard of Proactive. I mean, they created Proactive, which is the number one teen acne line in the world right now. I mean, so the reputation was there. The reason that my startup actually we didn't go forward with my startup at this point, it's on hold, was because we didn't have a name, that we haven't had previous success in the industry, in the nutraceutical industry. And so we needed to put $2 million more into that to be able to establish a name. With Rodan and Fields, I already had these two amazing doctors who have already created something spectacular that works for kids. And now that we're doing, the same thing for, not just for kids, but also for adults with all these issues. So we treat specific issues like sensitive skin, and not just like products that, don't irritate your skin, but actually treat sensitivity, so you don't have to suffer from it. And then the other problem is acne, not just teen acne, but adult acne as well. And then another, is pigmentation, and another is aging. And then there's also, healthy skin maintenance for people who don't have any issues. But it's our philosophy is the right ingredients in the right order, in the right formulation over time that create results. No magic. It's everything that is clinically proven. It's tested independently, proven, very safe, and effective. I mean, at the same time. So I love, and it's guaranteed. So if somebody doesn't see a result, they can get all their money back. And I love that too, because our doctors are not seeing, or even like we're not seeing people in person these days, and so people can be 100% sure that they're either going to be very blown away by their results and look much better, and solve, have their problem solved, or they don't have to lose their money. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, that's neat. And again, like you're collaborating with others to excel, the program and the products, which is, it helps you, but it also helps others, to understand the validity of the product, which is great. So
yeah, exactly.
Now you're always networking and linking people together, and that's so great to see that you are always doing that. So what's your secret about linking and networking people?
Well, I'm not sure if I have a secret. I read a lot, and I think I started, like I kind of mentioned at the beginning, when I was in college, I sort of started, sort of created a little bit of a brand in being a resource for people and with people, and and become friends. And I really loved it because what happened was, I had a lot of international friends who didn't have cars. I didn't have a car, and in Nashville, you kind of have to have a car. Even like I think even now. I mean, I was there a couple of years ago for for a conference, and it's still very much there's no public transportation like there was in Moscow when I was growing up. And so I actually made a list of everybody, all my friends, as I was meeting them. I made a list of all the friends that had cars and were willing to be sort of like a ride for people. So I was sort of like an Uber of the 90s, before it was before there was such a thing. And my friends would like literally call me, and they would ask me, "Hey, do you can you find me a ride to like at this time and on such a date, on this date?" And I would do that. And I guess it's kind of the same thing with networking. I think one of my favorite books is called The Go Giver. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah.
But it's I take and I read it way after, I started networking, but I love reading, and, like Audible is always, I always collect books, and I listen to them as I, as I can, and read as well. And I just love the whole concept of, providing value, and giving to people. And one of my favorite quotes is Zig Ziglar's, you can get everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And
Yeah.
I believe in that. And I believe that when, what goes around comes around. And when we're giving, we also have to be open to receiving, of course. But I think when we give and we focus on giving, that creates a really, amazing environment. That, first of all, I feel like I'm in business of, making friends, and that's my goal, right? Is like every time I network I want to, of course, we have to have similar values and things like that. But my focus is really, what can I do for this person that I am talking to? Like who in my network could be helpful to them? And my goal is always to connect them with at least one or two people in my network that could be a resource for them, or maybe a potential client, or somebody they can collaborate with. And I think, I believe that when I do that, I mean, I set an example for somebody else, who is, um, maybe the person I'm talking to, or maybe it's somebody, um, on my team. I mean, I think everybody benefits when we're focusing on serving other people. And that's, I guess, that's my secret, which is,
No, that's great. I mean, like, it's more of just like helping and being authentic to yourself and being willing to listen to others and also gauge what their needs are and then helping them get those needs and just being there for people through listening, and not like listening like surface listening, but just really understanding, okay, this is what this person needs, and not necessarily promising them anything, but if you sense that eventually they need something, then you're there to provide it, and you can be like, oh, I can connect these two people and it would work out, and not with necessarily any expectation in the back, but knowing that, hey, this kindness is just important. So
exactly, because we never know. I mean, people I've received, you know, I've been blessed, by other people, and I want to be a blessing to others as well. And I think when we focus on that, um, you know, business just happens. It's not something that we have to force.
yeah, that's true. Very true. So you were an athlete, and I know you like to stay fit and work out still. So how did being an athlete help you today? Like, what did you take away from being an athlete to today?
Well, consistency. I mean, so many things, but I think one of the main things is consistency. And I train 6 days a week, 4 hours a day, and actually went to school 6 days a week too. I now can tell my daughter who has Russian school on Saturdays that, hey, mom did it too. I'm not making you do something I didn't, I wasn't willing to do. Um, I think also, leading by example. Like I'm not telling people to do what I'm not willing to do. So, and then, I mean, discipline, right? I mean, that kind of goes along with consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have discipline to be able to achieve anything in life. It doesn't matter whether it's a fitness goal, or a nutrition goal, or a business goal, relationship goal. Like, you have to be, you have to have that that discipline. And I mean, as far as the my daily life too, health has always been a priority for me. So I love the fact that that I actually need to work out. But even during these days, when we're kind of staying home for the
Yeah.
most part, I have that need, and so I find ways, and I also kind of share it on my social media, like the workouts that I do, and people send me stuff, different workouts too that, I love that because I think when we're healthy, I mean, health is something that we can't do without. That's the priority
Yeah.
all the time. And so, I try to, and even my daughter, when she was little, I would work out and she would like work out with me, while
That's
she has
all.
her ballet class.
That's always fun though, right? Because when you work out with your kids, it's like you're, again, like you said before, you're setting that you're being that role model, and then you have to stick to it because now your kid is watching you do it. So it's like, oh, I gotta kind of do this. So
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
like a lot of the things you bring, and a lot of people don't know that, sports provides that discipline and that value of like commitment and understanding and moving forward in something. So that's a very important attribute to attain.
And positive attitude too.
Yeah.
Because when it can be frustrating to be in sports and to be, I competed a lot, and I think a lot of people, women especially, I think we kind of sometimes we compare ourselves to others, and that's one thing that we can't do. We have to, everybody has their, our own path, and we have to follow that path, and we just have to put the blinders on and go and be a better version of ourselves every single day. Doesn't matter what other people are doing. We all have like our own, our own issues, our own challenges, our own, positive attributes and talents, and we have to know that we're our own person. We can't compare ourselves, and so I think it also helps quite a bit with that.
Yeah. Well, now what are 5 characteristics you would think make up a good leader, in your opinion?
Well, I think John Maxwell is the best like expert on leadership for sure. But what I can say is, I think being an example is number one. You can't, again, you can't tell people to do something that you're not willing to do. Integrity, of course, you have to be, about that, you have to be honest and authentic. I think really caring about people and serving people
Yeah.
is also really important. And you know, I mean, those are the three main things. I mean, hard work. Um,
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely important qualities. I like the integrity, definitely. Like you gotta be that role model as well, like where you're that person. If you're gonna tell somebody to do something, you better be willing to do it yourself too, right?
exactly. Yeah.
So, no. Well, I appreciate you coming in today and giving us a little insight about who you are and what you do. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing some great things from you. And if there's anyone else who wants to be interviewed and showcase what you guys do, please jump on board to Friday for Females.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure. I really appreciate you, and I'm honored to be your guest today.
Thank you. You take care.
Okay. Bye.